Puma, are you nuts?
Good evening, everyone. This is Financial Literacy 101 tonight for another cigar talk. We're going to be opening up an Ashton. Okay, this particular cigar actually comes from the Dominican Republic. And we're going to talk briefly about the cigar, and then we're going to get inside of the discussion for this evening. So thank you guys, whoever joining me here. Hopefully you can stay for the time. I'm going to do a V cut on the Ashton again for you guys out there. Ashton, do a quick V cup. That smells good. I'm gonna burn the toast on the head here. I'm gonna smell that for a minute. Not pretty bad. And what I'm actually pairing this cigar with tonight is Sweet Red, is a wine out of Italy. I was going to pair with Black Girl Magic, but it didn't taste right. Okay, it didn't taste right. But this Sweet Red out of Italy is pretty good. Okay, very delicious wine. Very delicious. I mean, anyone would like that wine. Ladies, gentlemen, both of you guys will love that particular wine. I think at the top of the wine bottle, it has Creamy Fruity Sweet Red in big bold letters. Okay, so what's going on, Jermaine? B1 fam, B1, Black first, baby. But let's get into the discussion tonight. But before we start that, we have to start this thing off the right way. And as always, with a wonderful introduction. Well, let's just go and do a quick review of the cigar. I can tell you right now that this is a Dominican cigar. Now you see that you have the golden blonde Connecticut shade wrapper leaf, really mild smoking. And the taste that you get from this cigar is tastes of almonds and coffee bean notes. And then this with a touch of sweetness and a spice kind of around the edges. Not a really full taste like the coffee and almonds, but nonetheless a very, very smooth, mild cigar. This could be a really good cigar for ladies to essentially get into if they want to start off smoking a cigar. Really good flavor. So there you have it. I want to hit first when it comes to being social and dealing with social media. Me, myself, I'm subscribed to a lot of social media channels, and I'm assigned to those channels for two reasons: for information and also education. Okay, excuse me. Let me back that up. So information, education, same thing, but entertainment. But I pick and choose who I get my entertainment from. I'm not gonna lie to you. I think I'm subscribed to probably, and I'm not trying to make this a racial thing, I'm probably subscribed to maybe 2 or 3 white people out of, let's say, 30 people I'm subscribed to. Okay, maybe they bring us something to the platform on YouTube that nobody else has. But I keep kind of my content, what I watch, what I edify myself, to our people. But I learn stuff from everybody, no matter the color, no matter the creed. But in social media, when you're subscribing to so many people with so many different views, you may end up confused. I speak to a lot of my guys. We talk about various racial topics, political topics, economic topics. And the one thing that comes out is that essentially black people, majority of us have different views socially than any other race, than any other people. So essentially we are more comfortable with each other. Even though we may be divisive and have some fun banter back and forth about certain situations, it's just a different conversation because the race tension isn't there. So essentially we don't have that tension. Now with sports, a little more people are more passionate about sports than other people, but nonetheless, it's really not that volatile. This evening, this came from a black-owned cigar shop here in Allen, Texas, and I love the vibe there. They had a DJ. They had a DJ at the black cigar shop. They had a DJ playing old school music, so that was a really good time. So essentially, when it comes to being social now, I was in the military, I went to college, I intermingle with all sorts of races, and you'll be friendly, you'll be okay, but more times than that, I'm just speaking from my own personal experiences, we tend to gather around ourselves just like anybody else does. But when it comes to social media, what occurs is we let all sorts of people with a good story change the way that we go about our thinking. Like we can have our topics to be diminished, divided, and very evasive when it comes to speaking about Black issues. So essentially, the reason why social media, mass media communications, mass media news is very important to the Black community because unfortunately, a lot of us can be swayed, dismayed, and confused when we are trying to listen to all these particular news outlets that doesn't have our best interest in the heart. And I said this before, anything that you continue to listen to and read, you are subjugated under that particular influence. You're subjugated under that particular influence because that's all you're reading and looking at. Why would you care about Black issues if the only thing you're looking at is CNN? CNN is mass media for white America. There's nothing wrong with that. They have their news channel, but we have our news channels too. They're not as big and most of them on YouTube, but that's okay. We have sources. That's why, I'm not a hater of everybody else's channel. I actually promote other channels. I'm like, yo, go to the Black Authority, learn about, being Black first and essentially us being united, just not united as a country, but united as a people. Go to Tariq Nasheed, go to Professor Black Truth, go to TD Hip Hop Media, go to African Diaspora channels, okay? But when you start going over to channels, and I'm not trying to hit on the guy, I mean, I know they will, Roland Martin, he doesn't speak in the interest of foundational Black Americans. So essentially social media can change you. That's why you see all these kids out here doing all these dumbass games where, remember the knockout game? Social media. If social media wasn't around, would they still have that game? Probably, but not on a nationwide level. For you guys who are just joining me, this is an Ashton. It is a mild Dominican smoking cigar. Tastes of almonds and coffee notes with a hint of sweetness and a little bit of spice. And if you're not new to Cigar Talks, we're just on here having random conversations. If you guys would like to join, I will make sure that I'll bring my link up and you can join with or without your audio or video. And I see a lot of my regulars in here tonight. I see Jermaine, I see Ashley. None of you guys ever join me. Once you guys just join me here, okay? You don't have to show your video, but we can have a good discussion, okay? Because again, tonight we're talking about social media being social, religion, government, and money. Okay? Because here's the thing, ladies and gentlemen, if you took your religion aside from you being social, did you know that will probably unite us more than divide us? Because a lot of us, regardless of what we believe, what religion we follow, at the end of the day, economically, we want to make more money than we are making. And we all have different reasons for why we want to make a certain substantial amount of money. It could be your level of living. It could be the opportunities and opportunities that you can create for your kids or for other family members. You may want to start a business to employ your family members. But the point is, if we continue to be divided because we're watching and being essentially convinced and manipulated through social media that don't speak on our best interests, then you have to have an attentive ear and hear for those who are speaking for your best interest with your household and your community. Because once your household is fixed, then the next thing is your community. But sometimes you have to fix your community in order to fix your household. This is how things work. Okay? How you doing, Ashley? How you doing, Jermaine? This is essentially how things work. And we need to be a little more aware of what's going on in America. Like if they make an issue socially that infrastructure of roads is a racial issue. No, it isn't. It's an infrastructural issue. But they try to divide us by giving us different topics, giving us different things to worry about. Don't you need health care? Isn't your health care bill? And you're like, yeah, I need health care. But that's not your biggest problem. The biggest problem when I look at it, and I always say this in any argument, always use this, family, because they can't explain it. They will try to make up an excuse when we talk about economics and talking about reparations. Oh well, the country can't afford that. Oh, I don't believe because who's black, who's African American? We have a lot of immigrants over here. Then the biggest fight against reparations is what? The biggest fight is what? How's the country going to pay for it? One, then two, do you guys deserve it? And the answer to that is hell yeah, we deserve it. Because this is the one thing, well, those people who are getting reparations were living during that particular time. And the Japanese internment, they got $20,000 each. That was during this particular time because those atrocities and that torture happened to them. I say, okay, well, explain the Native Americans. See, family, they don't want to compare the Native Americans to what we're now labeling as Foundation Black Americans, because if we really get into the discussion, and Tariq Nasheed speaks a lot about this, about how we are the indigenous Native Americans. Okay, if you go and you search Black Native Americans, you will see that there was one of the first people in this land way before even 1526. But the reason why reparation essentially started the whole talk is not from 1619, 20 enslaved Africans going to Jamestown, Virginia. No, it's around 1526 where they brought 100 and something slaves by the way of Portugal. Okay, from Portugal on the way through Africa. And this was back in 1526 between South Carolina and Georgia, where they first tried to establish a settlement. But those slaves that are uprising and essentially ran off with the indigenous people that was already there. And most likely those people look like them. So they divide us on everything, where we come from, what we believe in, sports. I mean, you name it, the division of white supremacy is very large. But the problem is a lot of us, we're tired. Well, oh my God, here we go talking about race again. Here we go talking about this again. And I know for a lot of people, it gets very, very tiring, but that's what they want you to do. They want to exhaust you of your fight. They want to exhaust you of the issues and topics that you may bring forth. They want to exhaust you because they know eventually somebody's going to get tired. But we're the ones who cannot be tired. We're the ones who cannot get tired. Ashley says our biggest problem is seeing the matrix and believing we can't end it. Wow. Really good statement, because I believe that we do live in a sort of a matrix, and believe it or not, this is funny. Remember at the end of the third Matrix, I believe it was Matrix Revolution, where Neo had to go to the main machine and make a deal that he will kill Smith in the Matrix and that they will have peace outside of the Matrix with the robots. But Neo lost his life. The problem I have with that is when we compare the Matrix to Black people and our Black leaders, we have already had many people die in the wake of trying to fight for economic freedom, social justice, equal rights. Because essentially, guess what? We don't need equal rights if we have equal justice. Think about that. We don't need equal rights if we have equal justice. Again, what I'm pairing with the cigar is what they call I think it's a premi or prima, fruity, sweet red wine, and this is out of Italy. Pretty good. Oh man, that's delicious. It's like one of those wines you just want to drink up. But let's get into it because here's the thing. We have a bad habit as a culture of just frivolously spending money. And a lot of it is because we live in poverty. So anytime we get money, we want to spend that money, not, because we want those wealthy things that other people have that we see. We either be a fat ride we'll spend our money on. We'll have a BMW, a Mercedes, and we still living in the ghetto. We're still in an apartment, not even buying a house. But this is a way of change of thinking that we must have in order to succeed and to survive. This is very important to our race. And believe it or not, I know most people are thinking about themselves. And I totally understand. Before we can come together, I believe there's a lot of people that individually need to get themselves together. But here's the thing, you got to want to get yourself together. Some of you are telling yourself, I'm going to do A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, and you do none of them. We either be, I'm going to go to the gym and I'm going to get in shape. I'm going to lose a couple of pounds. Or I'm going to start a savings account. I need an emergency fund. You know what? I have a few extra dollars. I'm going to go ahead and invest, but you don't do it. You find some sort of excuse or reason what not to do in order to make your life better. Because here's the thing. We're all going to get old. I mean old. I'm talking about 60, 70, 80 years of age. And I'd be damned if I see you at Walmart talking about welcome to Walmart. You're going to be a Walmart greeter. And here's the difference. Some people are doing it for exercise and get outside the house. But some of us, we don't get our act together. We don't get our shit together. We're going to be doing that for a way of life. We got to do better. And I'm going to tell you right here, this is the one topic that I know a lot of people don't like to talk about because I talk about it. I've been talking about it a lot lately because it directly has to do with your money, and that's religion. I wait for some people to drop off. When I talk about religion, they're like, oh no, I don't want to hear this. I just want to hear you for this. And I get it. Because like I told people, I was an ordained minister, and through my ordination, I found out just so much stuff. But at the end of the day, let me tell you, a lot of the religions that I cover and went over and read their holy books, quote unquote holy, is that it was created by man. The books were created by man. And I know the huge argument is, were those men inspired by God? And that's the one thing that you'll ever know. You just have to have faith. But how are you going to have faith in something that was transgressed down, that your ancestors, your great grandfather, great grandmother, and so on, got hand over whip? They got that religion being whooped, being tortured, being raped, being hung, being essentially dismembered. I mean, all sorts of very chaotic and I can't even, the words don't even come to mind, the things that I read and some of the pictures I've seen that has occurred during that time. And the reason why religion is so important, because I know that is where people essentially rest their depression, their anxiety, their worries, their sins, their transgressions, etc. And you need it, and we feel, because the human being in us, like there has to be something greater than we are, because how did we get here? How did the planets get here? How did the stars get here? We have to have a reason. We have to have a source of how things were created. We yearn for that information. But the issue is, it's not religion within itself, especially Christianity, but essentially, why doesn't nobody wants to know the source? Can anyone explain that to me? Anyone? Please leave a comment in the chat. Why is it that no one is willing to explain? Excuse me. No one is willing to explain how, why. That's the one question. I asked religious folk all day, I said, why create us? I said, why create us? They say to fulfill the prophecy. Well, what prophecy? Well, it was written. Really? Really? Why is it that no scientist can find any fossils, any evidence of anyone ever in the Bible ever existed? Why is that? The problem is, instead of trying to inherently fix ourselves outwardly and especially inwardly, like develop different positive mindsets in order to change our life, have a sense of discipline and self-respect, we would rather just pray that away. Somebody asked me a really good question. They say, well, what if God exists? They said, what if? I said, I'll just go to hell then. Because do I believe there is a God that exists? I absolutely do. I believe there is a universal God. And I've said this many times before. But the question that still remains is, if there is a God and he has the power to interject into our lives, he has the power to save lives, why is it's been 400 or 500 years that Black people have been oppressed? And this is worldwide. So that's the question, why? Ashley says, meditate, fast, and you will find the answers. I used to meditate every day. I did stop for a while here, but I'm gonna get back to meditation. Because you know what I realized? Essentially, there's a good person in all of us, and you have to make a decision. Now, granted, some people need influence, some people need to be convinced. So church works out great for them because it essentially reinforces positive behavior in some cases. But again, we still have to remember that religion will control you. And this is whether you like it or not. Religion will control you. I know plenty of people who will essentially tithe and offering their last dollar. They will, during tithes and offerings, they will tithe their last dollar because they feel this sort of guilt have you, that they must pay these tithes and offerings to the church. And most people have said better than I ever could that God doesn't need your money. But then they turn around and say, well, God needs your prayers. And in order to do that, it's good as we come together in a house of God and worship him. So here's another question for people who are strongly inside of their faith. Okay. Me being a renounced ordained minister, is the one thing I have is when you think about prayer, what is prayer main reason for? Some people believe that prayer's main reason is just to ask God for stuff. Well, God, I just need a new car, God. If you could just rain down the miracle money from heaven, the manna, but in the form of money, God, so I can have the bread of life in order to live my life. Most likely, prayer has always been to pray for other people, not to pray for yourself. Prayer was never meant for a selfish act, but we essentially have turned prayer into that. But then again, here's the thing. If I'm an all-knowing, all omnipotent, all-powerful God, omnipotent, all-powerful God, then why would I need your prayer? I know your thoughts. I know your ideas. See, that's the thing. It's easy for a group of people to hand you a religion, for you can be convinced. So if you're easily convinced, then you are easily controlled. I'm just going to call her Nature's Beauty. She says, pray to express gratitude. That too. But I tell you this, sister, why pray? Why pray to a deity that you essentially do not know and do not see and do not feel? But you will say that you will. And I'm not saying that you, Nature's Beauty in particular, but I'm just saying in general, people will say that they've seen God or they felt God. But here's the thing, as I tell everybody, the more you read, the more you indoctrinate yourself, you will create whatever figment of your imagination. It's just like kids. And some people don't believe this, I understand. It's just like kids. Kids will have imaginary friends and they will talk to that imaginary friend. They will feed that imaginary friend. So from little boy and little girls, we were brought up into Christianity. And this is what we happen to believe, because here's the thing. If you guys were brought up in a Muslim home, a Hindu home, a Buddhist home, a non-believer's home, then 9 times out of 10, statistically, you would be exactly that religion or no religion at all. And I know we use the word religion. Some people are like, oh, you can't be religious, you gotta be spiritual. Yeah, we got it. Ashley says, who you praying to? Ashley, they gonna say God. Okay, they're gonna say Jesus. They're gonna say Buddha. They're gonna say Muhammad, whatever it may be. And this is not to shame on one religion or another, but I'm speaking about the religion that I most know, and that's usually Christianity, which most foundational Black Americans are. And really around the world, essentially people of melanated skin, we are only in mainly 2 religions. We're only mainly in 2 religions. That's Christianity and Muslims. That's it. Okay. The Islamic faith and the Christian faith. That's what most melanated people around the world are, especially in the Western world. Ashley going off tonight. She said, who is God? Who is that to you? Is it multiple or one person? I don't know if she's asking me or she's just writing in the chat. Let me know if you're talking to me, Ashley. And let me know if you're just, making comments, okay? So Nature's Beauty says, so do you believe there is a creator of all things? I do. And I know the argument when I tell people this, like, well, you don't believe in this and you don't believe in that, but you believe that there's a creator of all things. You believe there's a universal God? Yes. They say, well, prove it. I can't prove it. but I'm not going to follow a deity based upon the origin of that God. Think about that, the origin of that God. Think about the origin of that God. And it amazes me because, believe it or not, a lot of Africans are Christians. A lot of Africans are Christian. I say, well, now not all of them, but a lot of them. I said, so what were your religion prior to Christianity? That is the question. This is always a hard topic because no one can explain it. Steve Bryan said, and neither can the people who believe in it prove anything. Uh-oh. Don't do that, Steve. Don't do that. Don't do that. Because the one thing they're going to tell you, Steve, and we know the best, is what? You got to have faith. Listen, faith and hope is nothing that you can ever feed your family or do better in your life about. Well, I hope they send us these stimulus checks. I got faith that they will. Where's your faith coming from? They never did nothing for you before. But this is just another ploy how they control people for their political will, their political power through religion. And here's another thing, talking about politics. Uh-oh. So for a lot of you who are out there and you voted for Jim Crow Joe, what did he do for us? Can anyone tell me what old Joe did for Black people in America? But I know you can tell me what he did for Asian and Pacific Islanders in America. You see that executive order that he signed for protection of any racial bias. He also signed another executive order for the LGBTQ community. And listen, I tell people this the most. I'm not hating on theirs. They got theirs. The only question is, what is the majority of the population and race that voted Joe Biden in the White House? Wasn't it us? Now, granted, I can't take credit because I didn't vote. Because I knew that time and time again that we wasn't going to get anything. Now, just like everybody else, I was fooled, I was duped, and I'll admit it, I voted for Obama twice. And twice. So take, for instance, right? Thinking that Obama was going to be the president to really start doing things economically to help Black people, financially help Black people, even probably pass a small reparations bill. I was going to think, oh, he's going to do his last 2 years. He's going to do his last year. That's what Obama's going to do. But what Obama did, I came inside before Obama, I had nothing. When Obama left, I had nothing again. And this is what people, really don't understand about Obama and also Kamala Harris. They are not foundational Black Americans. Their roots do not stem here in America. Their roots do not stem here in America, so they don't have the same Black views. We can call them Black all we want, okay? But essentially, when you talk about foundation Black American, we are cultural, right? We are a cultural group. We are our own ethnic group when you really think about it. Because here's the thing, when you get people from the continent, from Africa, when you get people from the Caribbean, they don't understand some of our dialogues, okay? Dialogues, our conversations. They don't even understand some of our dialects, and they do not understand the way we think about white supremacy and oppression, and on how the different system in America actually prevents us from prevailing, from striving, from thriving, from being successful. They're like, well, onesies and twosies. Well, he's successful, you're successful. Do you know the many loopholes? Do you know the many obstacles? Do you know the many hurdles I had to go through to be where I am today? I will probably be damn near a billionaire without some of the same obstacles that another person of my race didn't have to go through. The ones who are billionaires, millionaires, who are successful, they're the lucky ones. But at any given moment, that can be taken away from you from driving down the street in your car, doing the speed limit inside of a car that doesn't look like yours, and you get pulled over because of racial profiling, and your life is taken when you're going to reach out for your license and registration. That is the country we live in, and this is the country that those who are now foundational Black Americans do not understand. They do not understand. Just like the Michigan, y'all heard this dude? I think his name is Austin Chenge. He's running for Michigan governor. He's a Nigerian fellow, and I know Nigerians are not like this, not all of them, but there's been a good group of them coming over here undermining foundational Black Americans with their rhetoric and with their talk. Did you know that August Chenge, the guy who's running for governor for Michigan, he's talking about if he's elected governor, he's going to cancel Black History Month and rename it American History Month for the state of Michigan. See, he said that having Black History Month was racist. And he's talking about American History Month. We have American History Month every other month. The reason why that we have Black History Month and Hispanic History Month is because America is a country of immigrants. And we have large populations. And guess what? We're celebrating that because essentially America is but predominantly white. We learn about all the white history. We learn white history as soon as we hit the school books. And half the shit we learn are lies. Nature's beauty. Let's see what she's saying. I'll start voting once I actually realize the matrix. Okay, Nature's beauty, you're on point. Also, the fact that it's all a corporation using me as a pawn. I trust none of these systems so much that I left my career as an RN because I refuse. Okay. Okay, I refuse to support the agenda. Now, Nature's Beauty, I don't know if you're subscribing to my channel. I will actually, if you guys like this video, go and give it a thumbs up. Give it a thumbs up if you like this video. And also, if you're not a subscriber, please subscribe to my channel because just today, Nature's Beauty, I released a video. I released a video basically doing a brief synopsis and breaking down how United States Corporation, the United States Corporation belongs to Vatican Rome in the UK. And I don't know if you guys saw my other video where I said the US is not a country, it's a corporation. I got two videos talking about that as well. See, if you was in a country that had the financial economic power as this one, don't you think that when I'm gonna say citizens for this particular part, or when the citizens are in financial hardship, that they will essentially bail you out like Obama did the big corporations, some of the car manufacturers during the recession? Don't you think that would occur? Because when you guys really think about it, whether it be $1,200, $600, $1,400 stimulus check, ladies and gentlemen, most people in America, believe it or not, who are in the middle class, you make anywhere from $2,800 to, $8-9 grand a month. So even with that being said, what the hell is $1,200, $600 and they spread across 3 and 4 months? What the heck is that going to do for you? Steve Bryan said the Bible lies. Okay. He also said they're doing and saying whatever they need to assimilate in racist America. That is very true. That is very true. They come over, they undermine us. And see, this is my term. Because they skin in, they blend in. Because they skin in, they blend in. So believe it or not, a lot of Nigerians look like us, right? A lot of us, if you trace the history, if you go back and do your due diligence, then you will see that a lot of us have Nigerian history, Nigerian lineage that falls all the way back from there. Because the main two countries that a lot of African slaves that are here in America, your lineage here is in America, are mainly from Nigeria and Ghana. And when it comes to Ghana, there's most likely the Ashanti tribe. You know, they were trading for guns, coffee, alcohol, this also candles. They was essentially trading for everything. So the atrocities even with that. So you would think that when people from Africa, and mainly we're talking about Nigeria in this particular point, that they will come over and support foundational Black Americans and us getting reparations. Because here's the thing: do Africans who were colonized from whether it be the UK and or France and what else? The other one, Portuguese and Spain. Do they owe reparations? Yes, but they need to go to the UK. But the issue is they come over here and essentially they money block it. I was gonna say something else, but that's what they're doing. They're money blocking. They're stopping the momentum that we're trying to build in order to force this government, this white supremacist government, in order to get us what they owe us. See, here's the thing: nobody never talks about the Native Americans and how their descendants of today are receiving reparations, and they're going to receive reparations forever. Forever. The reparations for Native Americans is forever. So they got their reservations, okay? They get stipends, and some of them even get free houses on the reservations. They're their own sovereign nation. They're their own sovereign nations on reservations. They don't even have to adhere to federal state laws. They have reservation laws. They have their own government. They have their own police. But how is this land funded? One, how are the people getting paid? Two, how they funded their schools? Three, all through the federal government. Excuse me. Nature Beauty says, do you believe we were already here, the true indigenous of America? I do. I definitely do. Because we really need to go back before 1445 when the Portuguese Spanish Pope started to target melanated people to be slaves. Before 1445. See, Moors, and Moors is essentially synonymous with the term African. Okay. But a lot of Moors were out of those northern countries of Africa, like, you know, Morocco, Algeria, Niger, or is it Niger? Niger? I think it's Niger and some other countries. But essentially, Africans from out the entire continent, rather, was traveling north, and a lot of them became Moors. So essentially, the term Moors just mean Black people or melanated people. Back then, they went from Moors to Nubian. Okay, there was a lot of names that they used over the line of, you know, us evolving into a more modern world. But some honestly, the word Moor and Black meant the same thing. Black is a new term that the Europeans made up. And with that, they traveled the entire globe before the Europeans even knew how to build a ship. Because when the Moors traveled over to Spain and to Europe and all these places, they were the main ones trading. They always came with something, spices, in some cases, even technology. Because prior to the Moors traveling to Europe, these guys were taking dumps and peeing in the streets. And they told them, this is why you guys are staying sick. And a lot of you guys having all these plagues and diseases and viruses going around, because the uncleanliness that Europe was actually in. So the Moors taught them how to build sewer, how to build sewer system, and how to discard their feces and their, pee, their urine. That got taught by the Moors. That got taught by the Africans. And just like I was telling somebody the other day, the procedure for C-section that women have came out of Uganda. That's part of Ugandan history. And I said, why do people think that Black people are inherently stupid and dumb? Like, we were the first civilization. We're the one who essentially created a system to understand astrology. We're the ones who started to develop and understand mathematics. how to tell the time, how to changing of the weather. Like we were the first scientists, we were the first researchers, we were the first teachers. We created the first language, we created the first handwriting to communicate. But nobody's understanding our history and our lineage, especially when you're living in a corporation that's built on the domination of one race and the power of one and also others by the way of subsidiaries. But see, these are the things that we don't understand because they don't teach this stuff in schools. Because if I keep you dumb and if I keep you filled up with white history, then you'll never know how great you are and the potential that you may have. So if you're not teaching your kids their history, and this is not about just Black History Month. This is not just about Black History Month, the 28 days that they just gave us. Okay? This is about teaching your kids Black History Month every month. Not just George Washington Carver and peanut butter, the many uses of peanut, but no one ever talks about how George Washington Carver actually was an advisor to the administration on how to build plastic out of soybean. Nobody never talks about that. Nobody never talks about Garrett A. Morgan, the one who created a version of the stoplight here in America and also created and developed and invented the gas mask. See, without all these little masks we were walking around with, we need to understand back in the day when firemen wanted to save people from their houses, they went in there willy-nilly. They have no mask. They just had a little handkerchief or something like that. But Garrett A. Morgan actually developed, they call it the smoke hood, because he could breathe without inhaling the smoke. So he essentially created the first gas mask. But this is information that they won't teach our kids because essentially, I don't care that they don't teach our kids. We should be teaching our kids. Whether your kid goes to public school or private school, you should be teaching them their own history. Steve Bryant, okay, Steve, I don't know what's going on in the chat here, but Steve is talking about Ashley Hawkins lives in La La Land. Wow, okay. But ladies and gentlemen, we have to have self-pride and we have to know not only, this is my opinion, okay, this is my perspective, not only should we know foundational Black American history, we're talking about all of our inventors, all of our teachers, all of our great people, people outside of Malcolm X, people outside of Martin Luther King, okay, why not Fred Hammond? Why not the whole entire leaders of the Black Panther Party? Why not learn about them? Why not learn about Elijah Muhammad? People outside of the norm, why not learn about Marcus Garvey, W.E.B. Du Bois, John Henry Clark, Francis L. Welsing, Dr. Claude Anderson, he's still alive. Why not learn about these very great people? But the only thing you'll get your Frederick Douglass, you'll get your Harriet Tubman, you'll get your George Washington Carver, and you'll get your MLK. Those are the most popular ones that people talk about. Those are the ones that most people talk about. But here's the thing. If you subscribe to all of these mass medias and you don't listen to your own people talk, it amazes me how Black people discredit other Black people, but we won't discredit white people. And I don't mean this on like a racial hate thing, but meaning like we'll believe CNN, right there. CNN will show you a picture, they'll show you a small clip, and then they will essentially talk about it, and then we're convinced that is the truth. But then someone who's done their research, who shows you actual information, I go to all these other black media news sites and also YouTube channels where they show me actual proof and break it down in a very intelligent way. We're not likely to believe that because you know what? It's going against democracy. It's going against Democrats. It's going against Christianity. But the question is this: who established the government? Who established the different religions? I got a question. We're talking, and we're bouncing back and forth, ladies and gentlemen. I know we're bouncing back and forth. Nature's Beauty says, too strong, too empowering. Indeed. See, my question, my thing is, we should throw, just for a moment, we should throw religion out the window. I don't mean stop believing whatever you believe. I can care less, but that is what is dividing us. There's a lot of things dividing us, okay, especially black men and black women. Oh my gosh. That brings me right into dating. That brings me right into marriage. I remember some of my first dates. I'm on a date, not even 5 questions in. And she say, hey, do you believe in God? And I'll look at her and I'll say, well, yeah, I believe in God. And she'll kind of like the way I said it, okay, but do you believe that Jesus Christ is your Lord and Savior? And I say, no. She's like, what? It amazes me how people are shocked when I tell them no. He said, so what do you believe? Already, the date is over, right? The date is over because for some reason, black women, they date a black man, he has to be Christian. But I'll see sisters, they white guys, and they are never going to church. Now, a lot of women believe a good man goes to church. That could be true. I believe there's good men that go to church, but there are some bad men that go to church too. And believe me, I knew some of them. Because here's the thing, you in church, you meet somebody in church, you guys dating, you're supposed to be following the Bible, but you guys having sex. Isn't that what they call it again? Damn, I forgot. Fornication, that's what it's called. Fornication. You guys, you guys are fornicating, still trying to go to church together. Y'all living in sin. You guys are living in sin. But here's the thing. If you like me and you believe in a universal God, then you can have all the premarital sex you want and don't feel guilty about it. But here's another thing too. And I know we are above all creatures. I understand that we are above all creatures. But do animals, because we are a form of an animal, are animals in the animal kingdom, do they get married? Do they have multiple sex partners? I'll wait. And I know we're human beings. I got it. It's most understandable. But your human nature, especially when it comes to men, our human nature is something in us to say have sex. Really, it is. Like we walk around, not all the time. Women believe all the time. That's all guys think about is sex. Not all the time. Like right now, I'm not even thinking about it, right? But there's a lot of times where we are. It's instinctive. It's inherently in our DNA. That's what we hear. D'Angelo says this food, man. Only the animals that are hoes. I don't even know what that means. Steve Bryan says most of the men that I knew go to church. Good point. That's a really good point, Steve. Really good point. Really good point. And then they tell you not to judge, right? In church, they tell you not to judge. It's human nature to judge. It's human nature to judge. See, I like to challenge people only to spark critical thinking and intelligent conversations. right? And most of those conversations are your social life, your personal life, religion, economics, right? Politics. I love those conversations like, oh, you should be talking about politics and religion. Why not? Some people may get some help and get a different perspective and change the way they go about their life. Because here's the thing, you don't need church to be a good person. Now church have changed a lot of people to be good people. Thank God for that. But you don't need church to be a good person. You just need to make a decision. And you're going to break the law or follow the law. Are you going to be good to people or not be good to people? Are you going to show empathy and sympathy for people or not? And for you guys who are just joining, I'm smoking a Ashton cigar. This is a Dominican cigar. It's here in a golden wrapper. It has taste of almonds and coffee bean notes, just with a touch of sweetness and spice around the edges. Really mild smoking cigar that anybody can smoke. And I'm pairing this with some sweet red wine out of Italy, okay? Sweet red wine out of Italy. Very, very delicious wine. So Nature's Beauty says, it must be an Aries. I'm not. See, first and foremost, Nature Beauty, I don't even follow the whole zodiac thing. I just don't believe it. I don't believe, and I know a lot of African astrologists, essentially developed this and they believe there's some truth to it. I'm not debunking that. I'm just saying I don't believe in it. Because essentially you're telling me the way the stars in the sky, in space that I can't breathe, okay? You're telling me the way that the stars are aligned and how they are arranged in space during a certain month dictates my personality. Absolutely false. Now, according to the American zodiac or the national zodiac, I am a Scorpio. When it comes to the Chinese zodiac, I'm a horse. Okay? I probably weigh about a horse too. Need to lose some damn weight. That's what I need to do. But anyway, just tell the truth. I tell the truth with myself all the time. I don't care. It says Steve Brown says no preacher is even welcome in my house. He will only be coming to size up the competition. Wow. D'Angelo says all that astrology stuff is BS. Okay. See, I believe that too. Oh, you must be a Gemini. Yeah, I'm sure. And whoop, was it April 3rd? I mean, I don't even know the month. April 3rd? Nah, I'm not. So here's the thing. I know people who read their zodiac each and every day. If you believe the whole zodiac thing is real, and you read your zodiac message every day, you will become whatever your zodiac wants you to become, because that is what you believe. It's kind of like someone says, you must be this because you're very nonchalant, right? You really don't care. I can choose to be either caring or nonchalant. You get what I'm trying to say? We have choices in life, and we can make ourselves what we want to make ourselves. There's nothing stopping us from becoming the best version of yourself. Don't let anything stop you from being successful. Don't let anything tell you what you cannot be. You can be whatever you want to be, except probably the president if you're Foundation Black American. Now, if you're a Black immigrant, then the sky's the limit here in America. I'm not throwing jabs, maybe a couple of hooks, I'm just saying. Let's see here. He says, same thing used to make Jesus white. Well, here's the thing. Let's talk about Jesus real quick. Let's see. We got, no, it is a minority part of your blueprint. I guess, if you say so. I'm not going to argue with it. I try not to be pious about anything. Open your mind to the unknown. All right. Talking about, Steve Brown talking about used to make Jesus white. So what is Jesus, guys? Now, here's the thing. If you look at It was yesterday, I believe. I put out a video, and I have a picture of white Jesus and I have a picture of black Jesus, okay, symbolizing them. Go and watch that video or how I break that video down. Go watch that video. Because essentially, I put, is Jesus, what I put, Hebrew, Israelite, or black? And I broke down how if you in America, people who are from the Middle East, people who are from North Africa in America are considered white. And I showed the government, the federal government website and everything where I got that information. It actually came from the census.gov. Census.gov. That those people, when they come over here, they're considered white. And I also showed people plenty of colors of how someone of Arabic or Israeli descent can be brass color and also burnished brass color. See, we're trying to make a deity. We're trying to make a God black. Why? Why does it mean anything to me if I don't even believe that it exists? See, we never, and when we have the conversation about religion, guys, people will like to fight you. People will like to back up their belief and their story with the Bible. And I say, we'll do it without. Explain X, Y, and Z. Because I can give you questions all night. Why did he create humankind? Why did he create mankind? What was the purpose of that? Did it have to do something with the Greek mythology? Because we understand in Greek mythology, in order for those gods to gain or to obtain power, people had to pray. But if you a God, you should know my every want and every need because you are all powerful and all knowing. Then why do I have to pray? If you already know my thoughts, some people ought to give praise and worship. What if it's in here? Why do I need to do that if you already know? It's like a mother, it's like a father who has a hungry child and they know the child is hungry. I'm going to wait till you ask for it. We got Ron Hastings here tonight. Good evening, Ron. He says, I've been thrown out of church for that statement. Yeah, they don't want you taking their money away. I mean, taking their people away. They don't want you taking their people away because with people come money. See, and I did this video today. You guys should go check it out, that United States Corporation, how the Vatican, because it talks about how essentially we are looked upon as assets and commodity and stock. Let me think about it like this, right? Think about it like this. Let's break it down economically. Can we do that? Can we break it down economically? You don't only pay taxes. Now think about this, right? Taxes can be the easiest thing in the entire world. Let me show you in one quick rant how easy taxes can be. When you have a job, the corporation, aka the United States, tax your paycheck. Why do you need another tax? Because when your paycheck is being taxed, it's being taxed by the state and it's being taxed by the federal government in more cases than not. But why do they throw up all these other taxes at you? Why do they do that? Some of you guys know some of this, all these other taxes outside of state and federal tax. Some of you know these taxes. We're talking about property tax, sales tax, consumption tax, progressive tax, proportional tax, VAT tax. I pay a MUD tax, MUD tax, capital gains tax, and inheritance and estate tax. They will tax the American assets. They will tax the American commodities, citizens, all those different types of taxes. Where essentially Taxes can be as easy as I have a job, you take the money out, and then the rest of the money is mine. If I am essentially, say for instance, I'm married and I file single, filing zero. Why in the hell would I ever pay taxes? If I'm married, because at the end, in the beginning, I put, give me 1 second. I gotta pick a time, or my computer is going to restart. All right, there we go. Why would you pay taxes? Here's the thing: if it's coming out of my paycheck, then that should be it. That should be it. Because here's another thing. If you are married and you file single and zero, and then when you file your taxes, you file for married and three, right? Married and three dependents, right? You should get a nice return back. But what if taxes was even easier than that? What if they said, hey, tax what you are, assuming file what you are. So if you're married in three, file married in three, we're going to take out taxes for married in three. You get what I'm trying to say? If you are single, claim yourself, and we're going to take those taxes out, but you get no tax return. Tax returns are crazy to me. They're stupid, right? Because they should say, hey, at the end of the day, file what you are, whether you're single or married, and married filing separately or jointly, or however, that's which we're going to tax, and that is where we're going to tax alone. If you try to cheat the system and single here, now you're married, you don't get a return back. Think about that. And then in business, where you got business tax, you got corporate tax, you got capital gains tax. You're like, yo, business tax, this is my profit, or I was in a loss. Okay, I was in a loss. So this whole tax system is a sham. It's a huge scam because they can make it 10 times easier. Because here's the thing: if my business didn't make money in the first 1 to 3 years, then I don't file taxes. I show them my financial paperwork. They say for businesses, blah, 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 send this paperwork in to show that you didn't make any money. You don't pay any taxes. But through the year, you accumulated taxes, and at the end, they give you money back. Whoa, I didn't make any money, I'm getting money back? I didn't make any money, I'm getting money back. So now the government, the corporation, is helping other corporations to stay in business so it can feed off the human resource of us going to our job every day, and then tax you with that as well. Nature's Beauty says, is there such things as cheating a criminal system? Not when you're black. The only black people I know that can cheat a criminal system are rich black people, and in some cases that don't even work, like Bill Cosby. Bill Cosby is worth like $900 something million. He's almost a billionaire, if not a billionaire. See, Ron says here, they're right. You can cheat the cheat, but Ron, not speaking on your race, you look Caucasian American. But when it comes to black people, Ron, we don't have that luxury. It's hard for us to cheat the system. We are automatically discriminated upon just because of the way we look. Just because of the way we look. We have to understand how these different systems, some of these systems, unfortunately, were set up by white supremacy, if not all of them. But a lot of us need to be free from the shackles of religion. Unfortunately, I'll have to go in hard and say Christianity. Some of us have to be free from the shackles of economic turmoil, where we spend more than we make. Some of us do not enjoy the greater things in life because we didn't do the right thing by our finances and be disciplined on that. lot of us are struggling with our finances, even before the pandemic. I know a lot of people are using the pandemic as an excuse. Well, this goddamn pandemic, man. No. That's why this, essentially this channel started, because I wanted to talk about many things, and I'm doing that now. But majority of my content is financial. But some things I just have a yearning in my spirit to let certain perspective, be heard, just to see what people think, and it may help those people in those regards. Because I've had a very, very full life. I mean, I'm nowhere near dying. Okay, I'm thinking if I had to give myself a number, I'd be, 80 something before I die. And some of you guys, you up here drinking and smoking a cigar, talking about 80. One day, maybe when I hit 50, I'll stop if I make it that far. But I'm pretty healthy in more places than not. It's a good cigar, though. Nature's Beauty says, haven't been to church in 4 years and see no reason to go back. Exactly what Ron talking about. I've been in the system and see how it works depending on many factors, but designed to flee the poor and middle class and fund the local governments. I concur. Because I look at the United States corporation just like any other corporation, right? Let's take, for instance, Amazon. Amazon has many departments under the Amazon name, just like the United States. They have all these different branches, okay? They have all these different segments. So America is the large corporation, and all the subsidiaries are all the corporations that fall under America, whether it be federal government, whether it be private corporations. They all essentially pay monies to the federal government, and then the federal government turns around and pay the UK, Vatican, and Rome. Now, I know some people gonna be like, yo, that's propaganda, and I get it. I get that that's my own propaganda perspective, but just like when people say, oh, I didn't research this, that, and the other, and so how do you believe that your research on the United States is just as accurate as religion? Well, there's a huge difference. Governments actually exist, and you can understand governments, and you can they have documentation to tell you about governments. Now, some of those documentations are definitely obscure from people's different perspective and the way they look at things. But when you're trying to contextualize these things and how things are set up, not to propagandize the information, but just to look at it in totality, and you're like, well, why is this like this? Why is this number here? Why is the American bank company on my birth certificate and it says note at the end? Certain information that we as people, because we are either unintelligent or uninformed, okay, we're either unintelligent or uninformed, and so we bypass those things. We look over those things, so we don't understand those things. So as I started to get a little bit older, I started to define and research everything. Everything that I ran across that made me go, huh? Most people are, well, you know how they be. And then you just move on with your everyday life. I'm not that guy. I want to find out. I want to research. If I can find the beginning, then I'll go back there. And then sometimes I love to cheat my way through. If somebody on the internet is actually defining it for me, and I believe that their research is accurate and real, then I most likely would believe that as well. Okay. But even with watching videos on the internet and people with their own perspectives and talking points, you still have to essentially legitimize and factualize what they're saying. Then you just be coerced and convinced about a bunch of bull crap. Let's see that a lot of people are talking. We got Steve Bryant. He said if they hem up the richest black man in America for tax evasion, they would definitely squash you without blinking. Indeed, I concur. Well, ladies and gentlemen, you know me. I finished my drink. I finished my cigar. That is my time for this evening. I thank everybody who joined me this evening. Please give this video a thumbs up. Please give it a thumbs up. Also, share this video if you find somebody that's a chill conversation talking about pretty much everything. We know that the cigar talks are either on Friday or Saturday nights. I do a quick review of a cigar and I try to pair it with a nice drink. And then from that point, we talk about various topics, and the topics are mainly the same. We're talking about, social economics or just social and social media, religion, politics, and money. Okay, that's basically it. Just a chill talk. You guys can ask questions, comment, and I left a link in the description. If everybody wanted to join me as I'm ending here, just in case somebody wants to join me on the way out. I'll have that link in the description right here. There we go. So if you guys want to join me, then that is the link. But I did put that up earlier. So you guys have a great and wonderful night. Again, thank you for listening to me sit here and talk over a nice cigar. Hopefully you guys had a chance to do some really good feedback, as well as some of your questions answered. I saw a lot of people talking in chat about different things of the topics we've been covering. So I like to see that. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, it's come to an end. Thank you for joining me once again. Please like this video on the way out. This is Financial Literacy 101. Learn money and be inspired. You guys have a great night and enjoy yourselves. I'm out.